Over the years, I've acquired quite a collection of cross pendants, most of which have been given to me by my partner, Mark. The crosses he gives me are usually made from cut crystal, like the one I'm wearing this morning. One of the reasons I like the cross that I'm wearing this morning is, depending upon the light that's shining on it and the angle at which you look at the pendant, the crystals look different colors. One person might say the crystals are purple. Another might say they are chartreuse, or a shade of green. Another might argue that the crystals have an aqua or turquoise hue to them. And still others might say the crystals that make up the cross are a combination of colors. And each person would be right. Depending upon the angle and light and even a person's color perception, the crystals in the cross look different to different people. And I believe that's the approach we need to take as we enter into the sacred text of the Bible. If we think of the Bible as a cut crystal or a gemstone, and we look at the truths we take from the text as the colors of the gemstone, we can see that there's no such thing as a single absolute truth any more than there is a single color which radiates from the crystal. There are many different truths. Depending upon our cultural perspective, or our psychological baggage, or even the ways we have been trained up to look at Holy Scripture, God's truth will be revealed in different ways. Put another way, depending upon the angle in which we look at a particular text and how we shine the light upon it, we will see different things. It's not that one truth is right and another is wrong. It's simply a different truth, a different perspective. And in my opinion, it's that very fact that makes the Bible holy. The fact that God speaks to each of us in unique ways, in the ways that we most need to hear at particular times in our lives from the same text, that's what makes the Bible sacred and holy and mysterious. And this morning's text, taken from the 18th chapter of the Gospel of Luke, verses 1 through 8, is one of those beautiful gems that appear different depending upon your perspective. I am one of many people who have grown accustomed to looking at the text from a certain angle. Like many of you, I have always thought of it as clearly a parable about prayer. The author of the Gospel introduces the text by saying Jesus told them a parable about the need to pray at all times and never to lose heart. And so if you're like me, and you've heard sermons preached from this text, they have probably been from the perspective of persistent prayer. Pray and pray and pray, and don't stop praying, because eventually God will grant you justice. This is one angle. But I recently was given an opportunity to look at it from a different angle. And lo and behold, just like the gemstone that it is, I discovered a different color shining forth from it, a different truth. One I would like to share with you this morning. Instead of reading it as a parable about prayer, I want to invite you to read it with me this morning as a parable about the face of God. A parable about how we see God, which in turn affects our relationship with God. Some of us have grown up with a distorted image of God. We see God as a judge, one who weighs our righteousness against our sin and stands looming over us, ready to cast the verdict. And furthermore, whether we want to admit it or not, we imagine God as an unjust God, judge, much like the one in this morning's text, who did not care about people. We have watched as loved ones have battled debilitating illnesses. We have watched them suffer through it and eventually passed on. And although we prayed diligently for healing or relief, we feel as if our prayers have been cast upon an unjust judge who doesn't even care about people. Because if the judge did care, our loved ones would not have suffered for so long. They would not have been taken from us. We agonize over the news of gay youths who have taken their lives because of the harassment and torment they have received from peers. Where is the justice, we wonder, in a God who creates people as gay or lesbian or bisexual or transgender, and who allows them to suffer for the way God made them in the first place? And what about the person who is an innocent victim of today's economic crunch? She may have been forced into early retirement, or he may find himself looking for a job despite his qualifications, or she doesn't know what's ahead if the bank forecloses on her home. What about these people? How could God allow this sort of thing to happen? The person who sees God from this perspective, from the perspective of an unjust judge, will find it very hard to not lose heart. These people have come to see God as a distant, impersonal judge who does not really even care about us. They will find it almost impossible to pray persistently because of the nature of their God.